What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of the You Want It, You Got It podcast. Today, I am popping a cherry and I am getting banged by all three dudes of Facekicker from San Jose. What's going on, gentlemen?
Good to be here, guys.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Oh, there's the pyramids in the back. Are you in Egypt right now?
Yeah, nothing can stop me from calling in and doing this chat, man. But not even 19-hour time difference.
Ah, man, that's pretty awesome, dude.
And I'm in hell.
It looks like you're in hell right now with the flames behind you.
Totally.
So anyway, gentlemen, how y'all been doing today? Y'all been having a good day?
Awesome day.
Yeah. Good day so far.
We're alive.
Do y'all have to work for the man today?
I'm still there right now. Stuck off to call in.
I kicked the man in the balls today.
That man was me.
All the way in Egypt. Okay, I got you now.
And I did not go in today.
Oh, well, that sounds like the winner right there. Ding,
I
ding,
never
ding.
go in. Yeah.
No. What, do you work from home?
No, I'm done. Fuck, work's overrated.
Are you retired?
Yeah, I
was a professional musician.
My job is to take care of these guys musically.
You're their caretaker.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a full-time job.
Full-time
Give
job.
us some money too. We want money.
Yeah.
It's like fucking herding cats. No, it's awesome.
So, Facekicker, how long have you guys been around?
Well, as a band, Jeff and I have kind of tinkered since about 2018. That's when we met. And we started jamming around 2020. Our first performance was in 2021. Remember that thing called COVID? Like the
yeah.
That sucked. So that like when we were practicing and writing songs, that kind of took us out of performing. But we were writing like crazy. And as soon as COVID kind of abated, we started playing. We had like Facekicker 1.0. That was drum machine because of COVID. So it was Jeff and I on bass and guitar, and we had a what was the application called?
Superior Drummer 3.
Superior Drummer. We had Superior Drummer 3, SD3 software running on a laptop, playing through a floor wedge, 400-watt floor wedge for our drums, and we would just jam the shit out of these songs. So we've been jamming for about 3 years. We were so lucky, and I've known Johnny for a couple of years by some mutual friends. He's really close to the family, and I was like, hey, when we wanted to make a record, we just weren't quite there. I should say Facekicker 2.0 was when we had our first drummer, D-Bone. His name was David, and David hadn't been in a band for like 30 years. So we got to a certain level, but we just wanted to kick it up, like kick it up another notch. And we were really lucky to get Johnny on board last June. And we've been jamming for like 6 months. We just played our third live show last Saturday. And we also just got into the studio and recorded a 8-song EP. So so much has happened in the last 6 months, 9 months practicing with Johnny. But I feel like we're getting tons of momentum, and we're just playing like crazy, writing, recording, and doing all the fun stuff. So it's just great to talk about it now.
Hell yeah. Well, so fairly, I would say fairly new band. I would kind of say maybe like I always use this term a lot these days because a lot of bands have come out around that time, but kind of like the COVID era band because kind of started around that time. Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands that started during COVID, which is a good thing because you can never have enough music out there.
Totally.
So let's go, Johnny. Before you started jamming with these dudes, did you play in any bands back in the day?
Yeah, I've been playing in bands probably since I was about 15 years old. So pretty much nonstop. What was kind of the shift for me is obviously I started out playing, punk and metal and stuff like that. But at some point, I just kind of veered off and experimented different styles. And I haven't played in a heavy band for like 20 years.
Okay.
Playing a lot of funk music and trying to learn how to play jazz and some Latin music and stuff like that, even though I always listened to and loved the heavier stuff. So it's cool, man, because it's on one hand a return to my roots, but on the other hand, I'm able to kind of apply all the shit I've learned in the last 20 years and just kind of, kick it up a little notch from how I was doing this last time I was in a punk band, which was in the 90s.
And dude, he brings it. I mean, it's good.
And learning all those techniques and other styles of music also probably helps, when you're coming into playing with them too, add some different styles to it,
Yeah, totally.
What about you, J Bone?
I'm from Canada, and back in Canada, I had a few bands. When I moved here when I was 23, so we had some bands in Canada. One of them is called Spent Salmon, which you like that one, from the East Coast, Nova Scotia. And then moved to Boston and had a couple bands there. One of them was 5 years. It was called Monkey. And then I moved to California, and I didn't touch an instrument for 15 years until I met T-Bone. And then we just started fiddling around. I was so rusty. It was crazy. And so good to be back into it.
Yeah. I've been playing music for about 20 so years, and as of 3 years ago, well, it'll be going on 3 years. I just stopped all of a sudden.
Really?
And for reasons after doing this podcast and talking to all these bands and then listening to all this music, I'm like, fuck, I got that itch again and I want to do it again. And it's like, especially like going from doing it for so many years and just stopping, I'm just like, the fuck was I thinking? I had a blast.
Back in, man. Get back in.
I'm going to. I have some ideas. I think I'm going to go back to my roots and just do some punk. Like some '90s style punk rock. Because that's what
we like it.
That's what I grew up on skateboarding, and I didn't really grow up in the '90s. I was damn near an adult by then. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But what's cool is nowadays. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I would just say nowadays you have. It's like, okay, I want to get back into music, but you don't even necessarily have to be in a band. You could record your own music at home in ways that you couldn't when we were coming up, just because of the technology, which is really cool. So, I one of my COVID things is I started playing guitar in those times, and it's, I'm at best like a 11-year-old level guitar player, but sometimes it's fun just to do something, even if you're not good at it. And those Friday nights when I sit in my garage and jam along to tunes are some of the most fun playing music I've had, in my life.
Well, you said 11 years old. I mean, you're pretty badass then, because I've seen some of these 11-year-olds nowadays, and they're fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have YouTube when we were coming up to learn all that Shredmaster stuff, but
dude. It's like even kids playing instruments, or even kids that are skateboarding at 5 years old that are way better than I was at 25 years old, and I'm just like, damn, these kids.
Yeah, because we had to teach ourselves to do stuff. Our parents had no interest in us playing punk or skateboarding or being whatever we were into. So, you learn through a lot more trial and error than I think, nowadays, guys who played in bands back in the day, they have kids, and hey, I'm setting the studio up in the garage. It's like, that was not happening when we were coming up.
No. They were like, turn that shit down.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Your parents are out of like, I would wait till my parents left the house and then use my dad's stereo, because I wasn't supposed to, and because he had the big ass speakers and the whole rack system and shit, and I would crank that damn thing up loud, and then I'd hear them pull in, run over there, turn it down, take my records, put them back in my room, so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, totally, man. And that, it introduced an element of danger, which made it fun.
Yeah. So J-Bone, you said you were from Canada.
Yeah.
I've spoken to two different bands from that area, and I found out Tuesday night, I found out that the shows, Letterkenny and Trailer Park Boys, one's an East Coast show and one's a West Coast show. And you can tell by the dialect and the way they talk that where they're from. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we all say A, but, then it just diverges from there. Trailer Park Boys they're from my hometown. It's
Wow.
they're complete celebrities. I mean,
Makes sense.
yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah. I've
Like filmed in a trailer park in Halifax or Dartmouth, it's like
okay, you say it again. What's it called? How'd you say it?
the Trailer Park Boys.
Halifax?
No, the Halifax. See,
Halifax.
Do you say Halifax or Halifax?
Halifax, H-A-L.
So the guy I was talking to the other night, he said, "No, it's Halifax."
I can't even hear the difference, but
yeah.
Yeah, so there's Halifax.
Be a good band name.
Kind of Halifax, Hell, and Halifax kind of cool and stuff. Then you go across the bridge to Dartmouth, and it's like a Terminator wasteland over there. So that's where the Trailer Park Boys is filmed.
So kind of like Detroit.
Yeah, similar to Detroit. Yes.
Similar vibe.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is related. I've heard of Trailer Park Boys. I've never seen it, but just a few months ago, I saw a dude wearing a shirt that said, "Welcome to Sunnyvale." And I'm from Sunnyvale, California. So I asked him, he's all, "No, this is that show Trailer Park Boys." Am I making this up, or do they live in a fictitious Sunnyvale there?
Ooh, I don't know. I've never seen the show. I've never seen the show myself.
I've seen like half the episodes. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Like they did 2 seasons animated in the middle.
Okay.
I'll take the action on. I'm taking notes for the meeting, so I'll just take the action on.
The only thing I know about that show is Sebastian Bach was on there. That's all I know about Trailer Park Boys. Sebastian Bach was on there, and I heard it was a great episode. So
he's wacky.
Fellow Canadian.
Yeah, and but he's a Canadian, just like Bryan Adams.
Yeah, and Loverboy. And
William Shatner.
Wait, Shat's from fucking Canada? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Michael K.
All right. I just found out the other day that Bryan Adams' sophomore album was called "You Want It, You Got It."
Really?
Yeah. So I have to get that album now and stick it right here. I gotta get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. He copied you.
And he came into the future and saw what I was doing, and actually the intro song is my old band where I got the name from the podcast from. So that's what he did. He ripped us off. So I'm suing.
He's a horrible thief.
So
one thing about Bryan Adams is though all the people he's ghostwritten for.
Really?
He's written for Kiss.
Yeah.
He's written for like Pink. I think I'm making the Pink one up, but there's a list of people he's written for, and you're like, holy shit! But Kiss, he's done like 4 or 5 different Kiss songs in the 90s and stuff. Yeah,
we should get in touch with him. Do a little writing for us.
Yeah, right.
I'll say no. Here. You got to do me a solid.
I think he wrote "Lick It Up" for Kiss.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you guys are all jamming these days. I know I asked Johnny about his background in bands. And then, Jeff, you said you haven't touched an instrument in about 20 plus years until you met T-Bone. Well, T-Bone, what have you been jamming with over the years? Anything?
So I started when I was a wee 10-year-old snot-nosed kid.
In the 1940s?
1940s, yeah. But it was like the
right after the war.
The mid 70s, and I grew up in Orange. I was born in Mountain View, like 3 blocks down from Johnny Bones, and my folks moved us down to Orange County. But back in the 70s, late 70s, Orange County was like Agent Orange, Dead, and all the bands were playing on Sunset Boulevard, and all the classic like Whiskey a Go-Go and all the clubs down there, and even in Orange County. So Agent Orange, Sugar Ray, TSOL.
Yeah.
I mean, just so many great bands. But Black Flag was big down there. They were a DC band, but they jammed in LA and all the clubs. And I grew up with all that kind of surf punk, hard rock. So I was like Ted Nugent, Led Zeppelin, but also surfy stuff like Agent Orange. Mm-hmm. And then it was all the classic punk, and then obviously UK punk like Buzzcocks, Sex Pistols, all that stuff. Just like, and X was one of my favorite bands, and they were from LA, but they grew up in Midwest. But I skated, I surfed, I played music, and I wasn't so much in bands. I was focused on like doing all the right stuff, like working and too dedicated. I played guitar for like 45 years, and I brought up my kids. I had like 4 kids, 2 by marriage, and they're finally all out of the house. And when Jeff and I started jamming, that's when all that pent up energy from like 45 years culminated in Facekicker. And so it's kind of like that high school band, that the bands that were Johnny and Jeff were in. It was like I took the energy from all that angst and unfulfilled, whatever, and we're blasting it out now. And that's why I have this energy, and it's so fun to do it with these guys.
You should see the bodily fluids that fly out of this guy. so pent up.
Yeah.
And, I wear a rain jacket.
I'm sorry, man. I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Though you could stand farther away. Well, I don't know how big your practice space is, but you
Pretty
don't have to
small.
stand. Yeah, you don't have
You
to
don't know
stand
how
right
far
on
the
top of
fluids
it.
fly either. So
That's
I guess
nasty, dude.
you guys have a pretty exciting band practice.
We go all out, man.
But it
we're
only
like,
lasts about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a good practice. No, now it's the 70s. You're naming like Agent Orange and all those bands. Agent Orange, I can't believe how long that band's been around, and they're still going hard, and they're still on tour. And such a great band. I was introduced through them. A buddy of mine let me borrow a surf video, like a skate video, but for surfing.
Yeah.
And that's when I heard Bloodstain by Agent Orange for the first time, and I was like, holy fuck, this shit's awesome. So I had a few different record stores that I would go to after school, and I would look at all of them, and I found one in Pacific Grove, California, which is like that's where I bought it, in this dope ass record store, and it's still there to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually I found so many gems back then, but they weren't gems really then because it was in the early 90s. Now they're like house payments if you still had some of those. I found the Beastie Boys Cookie Push record. And,
man,
yeah, that's like really old, and it's just one song. It's just like Cookie Push, it's Cookie Push there, and it's like this neon pink. And I've looked through my tape collection multiple times. Even I know it's not here anymore, but I still look because I hope one day it would just pop up. But I've looked it up. The original price of that thing, it's like $500. It's like,
So cool.
It's nuts, man. When you think of like the things that you got rid of or just lost throughout the moves over the years, you kick yourself like, oh, I can't believe I got rid of that just to make space because I was living in a single room at the time or something.
Well, I was dumb, and as soon as I moved to Tennessee, I sold a lot of my shit because I wanted to get some weed money. I was like, weed and beer money, And then I'm like, man, that was a good time, but now I don't have nothing to show for it, and my tapes are somewhere, But now I started collecting over the years. I started recollecting my CDs and cassettes and vinyl and stuff. So.
And Kiss stickers, I noticed in your background, which is awesome.
Actually, if to my left over here, I have a bookshelf of Kiss stuff. It's Kiss and Prince combined in one bookshelf.
I love it.
Well, we're actually getting ready to sign a multi-million-dollar deal for the Funko dolls of Facekicker. So we'll be sure to send some of those to you.
Hell yeah, man! Are you guys gonna do like the 3-packs, or are you guys gonna do individuals?
Oh, whatever sells. I mean, we gotta buy the tour jet. So whatever goes.
You gotta do the Blink-182 ones.
On 8-track. Each one of us.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's this guy on Instagram that puts that will put your stuff on 8-track.
Oh yeah,
really?
And it plays. and he makes like short run. I mean, it's a little pricey, but it's
write that down.
I'll send you his Instagram. But I'm being real, like he makes these for bands, and they make 8-track. And I would love just to have it for like a collector's item of my own thing on 8-track, because
we love retro.
I've never got vinyl for my own band. I've gotten CD and cassette, but never vinyl,
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be cool if you went to like Goodwill and, if you were able to find a box of old school 8-tracks and then you could take them home, like empty out the contents inside and put like a USB thumb drive with your new album on it or something. So you're distributing digital music through an old school delivery method.
Well, it's funny you say that because they actually, you can bands are, I mean, I don't know where exactly, maybe like DistroKid or CD Baby or one of those kind of places. They have the ones that look like cassette tapes, and then where the cassette or the tape would be, a little thing comes down as a jump drive, and you put it in. So
no way.
Yeah.
Classic.
Everything that is old is new again.
Yeah, and I still love cassettes. I buy them still, and I still buy some of the newer ones, even they're a little more pricier. But it's what they cost to get made, and you got to make a profit off it. So.
Yeah, I think they're kind of making a comeback. I've seen bands, kind of redoing their demos and selling them at shows on cassettes.
Yeah, and I'll know a lot of bands that will just release the cassettes, and I'm like, I guess that's cool. Release them and then put like a little code in there for like Bandcamp, and you can go and download the digital version or something,
Yeah, I liked, if you remember some of the, I remember like the Dead Kennedys and God We Trust Incorporated was like this, Slayer's Rain and Blood, albums that were so short. It was just the whole album on one side of the cassette, and you never had to rewind it. You just listen to the whole thing, flip it over, and
do you remember when they came out with those cassette players? If it didn't blend together, you can like press fast forward, and then it would stop in between the songs, so you can like. Yeah,
like smart fast forward or whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that.
The next track.
That was pretty cool. Oh yeah, the old days of either one carrying your Walkman with like 12 cassettes in your pocket, but you wouldn't bring the case because that takes up more space in your pocket. But then you would pull it out and the shit would be all wrapped around. You're like, damn it. Or the CD player, and you would take one CD sleeve and put like 4 CDs in there and close it. And then hopefully you don't scratch it throughout the day.
Mixtapes were rad too. You just make your own compilations and all that.
Yeah.
I like making like mixed CDs and mixtapes. Those were good old days, especially when we're our era off the radio. You got to be like, all right, damn it, I got a little voice in there. Oh well,
on the boombox. Yeah.
And then you would remember that part of the song, like that person's voice the whole time. Anywho, so guys, what since we're talking about that kind of stuff, let's start with you, T-Bone. What were you in? What kind of music were you into growing up? Like, what was your first introduction to music? Let's put it that way.
So when I started, my parents gave me a little 3/4 size practice guitar for Christmas, and they're like, "Hey, if you practice really hard, we'll buy you a nice guitar." And they gave me guitar lessons, and the first dude that inspired me was, this was like 1975, was Ted Nugent, because he was the Motor City Madman. He was faster than everybody. He was on top of the world. It was like Led Zeppelin and Ted Nugent were at the top. So it was Zeppelin, Nugent, Aerosmith, and this bad boy right here. So Jimmy was long gone. I mean, I was 6 years old when Jimmy passed, but it was just guitar-oriented rock. So big beat, heavy guitars, driving beat. That was what I loved. So like the classic Song Remains the Same, Led Zeppelin 4, Ted Nugent was like Double Live Gonzo. That was the cassette that I burned out, and I was sad when the tape blew up, so I waited for CD and rebought it. But like hard rock. And then in the late 70s, when like 76, 77, when the Sex Pistols broke, and B-52s were like 78, 79, and X was like 78, 79, and a whole bunch of other bands. It was like late 70s. I was about 14, 15, and I was like this hard rock, but I was angry, and all this combination of stuff. And I just loved the punk rock because it was furious, it was fast, it was tight, and there was usually a message. Like discontent, fuck authority or just whatever the hell it was. And it was rebellious. So I love the hard music plus the rebellion, and all that combined is like what I've carried for 45 more years in Facekicker. It's like, I don't really consider us a punk band as much as like we just rage. We just go as hard as we can and loud as we can. And who cares what the genre is, but we play with punk bands mostly. But yeah, those guys were the influencers for me. And I had those cassettes on rewind on my little boombox and headphones, and my parents were like, what the hell is he doing? But that's how I started. So
well, you said that guy there on your shirt.
yeah,
I used to work at this radio station, and when I was like an intern at a radio station when I was like 16 in Monterey, called KNBY Radio, and we used to do things for like the fair, like that, like the Squid Festival and all this kind of stuff there. Anyway, that's the Monterey Fairgrounds is where the Monterey Pop was at.
yeah.
And on that
Legendary.
stage, there's a plaque on that stage
Yep.
of where Jimmy did the fire.
Did the fire.
And
Oh man.
years
stuff.
later, I moved here to Tennessee, and he was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is the military base here.
Yeah.
But not only that, Jimi Hendrix babysat this guy while he was on LSD that day, while Janis Joplin and the Big Brother and the Holding Company were on stage, because his dad was working with those guys, and Jimmy had to keep an eye on him while he's just soaking in LSD in his fucking headband,
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
and
Legend.
yeah, I was like, well, kid, you probably, I mean, he's not a kid now, he's older than I, but I was like, man, you had a great kid, great time as a kid at that time. But yeah.
Oh my God.
He's got a killer story to tell for
What a story. Yeah.
He has so many rad stories to tell. This dude does, because then when he got in his 20s, he moved up to the Bay and started working at a record label up there. So then he started talking about all these bands like Sly and the Family Stone and all these bands back up then he was working with up there. And then, working with Bill Graham and that promotion company. Like the stories he told were just incredible. We would just sit there drinking beers and he would just tell us a different story every day. Whether they were true, I couldn't tell because I wasn't going to pull out my phone in front of him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares, man? It's good story.
Yeah.
A good story.
Hey, that's what we do. Hey, that's what we did back in the day. We told stories and no one could tell us if we were lying or not,
That's right. That's right.
So what about you, Jeff? What kind of music were you first introduced to?
So my first vinyl I ever bought was Ted Nugent's Scream Dream.
Okay.
A friend of mine recommended it. I had no idea what to expect. And I was like, whoa, it's great. Wango Tango is awesome.
Yeah.
And then I bought Kiss Destroyer and then, Alive 1, Alive 2. So I started it off that way. Through high school, a friend of mine, his brother lived in Scotland. And so this guy would send back, all this stuff we'd never heard of. So Never Mind the Bullocks was one of the records that I got.
Yeah,
I was
nice.
completely obsessed with. And then I was a little all over the map, I loved Bowie, Neil Young, of course, if you're Canadian.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And then Rush. And then I had a college.
Wait, is Neil Young Canadian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He's as Canadian as it gets.
I guess I just never knew where the fuck he was from.
Needle in the damn gun, eh?
Planet X, but he's Canadian.
I mean, and then but Crosby, Stills and Nash, they went from Canada. He just joined them later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not
area.
in my knowledge.
Yeah.
So yeah. But Neil's like a god to me. That's why I started playing guitar. I wanted to sound like Neil Young. I got the harmonica brace and I just learned every acoustic song by Neil Young. But then I had another friend that was a death metal head. So he started introducing me to death metal. So I was all over the map. But
similar. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, but in the end, I really love hard stuff. I mean, that's my go-to. A lot of the I didn't know all those LA Orange County bands, but just hard rock, punk, heavy metal. You know, that's sort of ended up being my go-to, and a little bit of alternative. Like the band I was in Boston was very similar, had a very heavy Pussy Galore influence. So
Oh
that
wow.
kind of like crazy noisy blues based just bananas music, and got me into that. And so that's what the band sounded like. So
Cool.
yeah, it's good. That's kind of my story, and I'm sticking to it.
But now you live in the mecca of fucking of where thrash came from in the Bay. Now the Bay Area is home to fucking some of the best thrash bands that came out in the 80s. So many badass
100%.
bands.
That's my background.
Yeah. So what you got over there?
Well, so these other guys had heard the story, so I apologize for telling it again. But I had two older brothers that were turning me on to stuff at a pretty young age, and they were very much into Black Flag, Dead Kennedys. Speaking of Agent Orange, the very first show I saw when I was 12, they took me to see Agent Orange at the New Varsity Theater in Palo Alto, and that was like a life-changing night. And then the Faction was from San Jose, local bands like
Steve
Half Church.
Caballero.
Yep. Used to share a music studio with him.
Oh yeah.
When because he played in several bands through the 90s. But what was kind of big for me is that was the music my brothers turned me on to. And about the time I was in high school, obviously, as you mentioned, the Bay Area was ground zero for all the thrash. So I was getting into bands like Exodus, Death Angel, DRI, Slayer, obviously, because it had this punk energy and this punk speed, but it kind of had a little bit more like musical technicality to it that appealed to me, because I was just learning my the fast double bass and stuff like that. So like when I first discovered thrash, it had everything I loved about punk, but it wasn't my brother's music. I found this on my own, and it was just so rad.
Yeah, it's similar. It's like we all have kind of like the similar background on music that we first got introduced to. Johnny, you said your first concert was Agent Orange. T-Bone, what was your first concert?
It was Ted Nugent and Scorpions opened for him at the LA Sports Arena. I was 15 years old. My 16-year-old classmate, best friend, drove the old station wagon with the wood trim, the fake wood trim.
Yeah.
We drove that goddamn thing up to LA Sports Arena. I was scared to death, but it was the best concert. It blew my mind. But the Scorps blew away Nugent, and it was like I never knew about the Scorps until then, and it was just amazing. So
dude, I got introduced to them when I tell you all this stuff, you're probably like, God, where the fuck hasn't this dude done or lived? But I lived in Germany. Okay, real quick. Here's my background. I was born in San Francisco. My mom married this soldier. We moved down to Monterey, where Fort Ord used to be.
Yeah.
He was stationed there for like 8 years. And then we went to Germany for 3.5 years. And then we went back to Monterey, back to Fort Ord. And then Fort Ord closed. And then we came to Tennessee. But I didn't find out about like hair metal bands and those kind of style bands until I moved to Germany. Because when I lived in California, in Monterey, when I was in elementary school, I was into like hip hop, like LL Cool J, Run DMC, that kind of Kumo D, that kind of shit. Oh, and I can't forget Weird Al. And of course Michael. I was a big Michael Jackson fan too.
Yep.
But so I get to Germany and I find out about these German bands like Scorpions, and I was like, wow, but they sing in English, because I wasn't putting the pieces together that they could sing in English. I was just some fucking kid that didn't know no better, But Scorpions, their Worldwide Live album is probably my favorite live record ever.
I remember that one.
And I say that even though I like Kiss Alive, it's better than that to me, But Scorpions are great. And I have you guys both said Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see Ted Nugent solo, but I saw him with Damn Yankees.
Okay.
And Jackal at the San Jose, in San Jose, but where do the Sharks play right now?
That's the
Center.
The where?
SAP Center.
Is it okay? Because was the Civic Center before that?
You way
Well,
before, yeah. Civic Center's
where-
been around forever.
That's where I saw them at the Civic Center.
Yeah.
Ted Nugent shoots a flaming arrow, even though he was told not to, and he had a bullseye sitting at the top of one of the rows, and he hits it. And then at the end of the show, I was told he was arrested for doing that because he violated fire codes.
Yeah,
but
not because he shot an arrow into the crowd.
Yeah, nah, a
Every
flaming arrow, you know.
Holy shit!
So that Jeff, what was your first show? Did you say?
Okay, I haven't said anything. I'm so fucking envious of these guys. Because in Halifax, Nova Scotia, no one wanted to fucking come there.
Celine fucking Dion?
Not even her.
Shania.
So my first show, but a few did. A few Canadian bands like Rush, Loverboy.
Nah.
For the weekend.
I'm seeing Loverboy in August.
Awesome.
Really? Are they still
playing?
I can't believe
they're playing a casino.
They're still alive.
That's awesome. And then Billy Idol came, and he was drunk as a skunk, stumbling over the audience, stumbling over the stage, just spitting huge loogies on the audience, and it was a great show.
Okay, you win. That's good.
Yeah. So I never started to see good bands until I moved to the U.S. at like 23. You know? Okay. I saw a great show with Social Distortion, Neil Young, and Sonic Youth. I mean, there's
wow.
Wait. I can see Social D, Sonic Youth, but Neil Young.
Well, they call Neil Young. This is not acoustic Neil Young.
This is the grunge. This is the godfather of grunge.
Yes.
Okay.
He played all with Crazy Horse. It was all so distorted and loud. It was great. So
Russ Never Sleeps tour, probably.
I love that era of Neil Young. I mean, I like all Neil Young, but that era was great. You know, because it just shows that man he rock out. You know, especially when he was doing shit with Pearl Jam back during that time. You know.
Yep.
That's true.
Billy Idol was just here last weekend, and I had tickets to go, and I wasn't able to get a ride down. My friend's husband is the LED guy for this current tour for Billy Idol and Joan Jett, so they got me tickets. Well, I wasn't able to go, but she was cool enough and brought me back. I just got it in the mailbox today because she dropped it off. But the Billy Idol tour poster, and I meant to bring it in here because I was going to show you guys this. It was like it's the Billy Idol tour poster. It's like Billy Idol, Joan Jett. And then she got me the cassette list, which was kind of cool of her, you know.
Oh,
so,
nice.
I've never got to see the man. I would love to see Billy Idol, but I guess this is his farewell tour. So.
Really?
Oh, really?
That's what they all say until they run out of money. But when I saw him, it was White Wedding was at its peak. Like we're going crazy over that song. So I was just so excited to see him, and even better that he was like completely hammered and spitting on you. So good.
So he forgot what band he was in. He thought he was back in Generation X. You know what I'm saying? You know, my first concert as a on my own, where my parents let me go, was David Lee Roth.
Is that the Cow Palace?
Germany. Oh. No. This was in Germany. I thought it was. I thought my first show was Living Color, but that was a couple months later. Because I found the ticket stubs. I was like, oh, okay. But it was David Lee Roth and Warrant was supposed to open up.
Yep.
But Janie Lane fell off the stage in England and broke his leg. Now, if it was like 20 years later, they would tell him to suck it up and get on the throne and continue the show. You know?
Yeah, you got to sing, man.
Because Dave Grohl changed it for everybody. He's like, no, bro, I'm playing with a broken leg. You're gonna sing, you know. But no, But no, the Cow Palace. I saw Metallica at the Cow Palace.
Which one was that? I saw him there.
For the Black Album tour, it was
okay. Yeah, I remember
91 or 92, I think.
Yeah, I saw him there on the Injustice for All tour, like 88, I think.
Everybody that I know that was that started going to shows or were older and were able to go that saw Metallica, they all said Justice for All was probably the best tour. And I'm like,
yeah, they had the big statue on stage, and it was rad, man. It still stung a little bit because that was only about a year and a half after Cliff died, and it was just like, we were excited to have that album out in 1988 for sure, but it was just like still we were all bummed out about that.
For sure, and it's like they jumped back on the horse quick. It was like a couple months later they started looking for a new bass player. And then they got, Jason, which he was a beast at that time. I remember when because he would always do vocals too. And I remember seeing them. I saw them at the Cow Palace, and either it was I think I saw them in Fresno too one time, but when they would do Seek and Destroy, it'd be like anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes long,
Yeah, they'd stretch it out.
Yeah.
And Jason would be, James would be like, we're not stopping, Jason, until you fucking sing. And then he wouldn't sing, and he's like, well, we're just gonna keep going, and then finally he'd get on there and do his thing. But Duke could sing his ass off. He has a great voice. Have you guys, has everybody seen Metallica here?
No.
Oh God, I couldn't even count the amount of times I've seen them, but the first I remember was probably one of my favorites. It was this big package tour that came through Candlestick Park called Monsters of Rock. It was like Van Halen, Scorpions, and Metallica was only the second band. They really hadn't broken yet, and it was the summer before Injustice came out, and we just pushed our way up to the front. We're like 14, 15 years old. And they played a song. So Injustice came out in September. This was like July. And they played Harvester of Sorrow. And, in the days before the internet, like everyone would have their phone out. It would be on the internet.
Yeah.
There, it was like, fuck, you want to hear a song off the album that's not out yet? Yes, absolutely, we do. And so the place went nuts, and it was just rad to hear that song before the rest of the world heard it. It was so cool.
Those were the cool days, man, when you would go to a show and they would be like, you guys want to hear a new one? And everyone would go crazy. Yeah. Now nobody wants to hear new shit. They want to hear whatever they came to see. They want to hear the hits. It's like and if you only had like 2 or 3 popular songs, don't play them early because they're gonna leave, I just saw Metallica 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Go on the big tour,
Yeah, they did it 2 nights, and they played all the bangers both nights. I like all their music. I don't care. Even the stuff people hate, I still like. I just think that's what they were doing at that time of their life, but they killed it. It's still up there doing their thing. And James said in an interview, like the next day, they have like their own podcast. And he said, we don't play the songs like we used to. Some of the songs we don't play like we used to because 1, we can't, and 2, there are songs and we're going to play them how we want to play them,
and you get bored. The one thing, it's in 40 years of hindsight or whatever, and you may not like the albums they made in the 80s or the 2000s or the 90s, but for those of us that were old enough to remember when they were still kind of an underground band, when you first heard that was some of the heaviest, most gnarly shit being made. And those, depending on what point you jumped off that train, they made anywhere between 3 and 5 of the greatest albums in the history of metal. And it's like, who else can say that except for maybe Black Sabbath?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And they're still selling out. They're still packing out places. They're playing football arenas. Okay. They're fucking doing a thing. So, I don't, like Lars said it best. You can say we sold out, and we sell out every seat every day. I'm
one of the few drummers. I don't talk shit about Lars. I know a lot of drummers like to trash him, but again, it's like I haven't played on 3 of the greatest albums in metal history, so I will keep my mouth shut until I do.
And I will say this: every drummer that talks shit about him, or anyone that talks shit about him, their favorite drummer was influenced by Lars.
Oh, hands down, yeah.
Because if you like Justice for All, you like Master of Puppets, you like Kill 'Em All, you like Ride the Lightning. Those albums are phenomenal records. So
and if you look at the albums they were influenced by, Motorhead. I fucking love Motorhead, but Filthy Animal Taylor wasn't the most accomplished technical drummer. The dude from Venom, it's like the dude just sounded like the guys he was listening to, and it wasn't about being technically perfect. It was about just kicking ass and playing rad music.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Bang the drum.
So he can drum all right, I like the trash can sound that everybody hates on Saint Anger. Sorry.
It's unique.
Baseball bat. Yeah.
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 I will say this though, real quick, and we'll get off Metallica. But so they're in this circle round, and there's 4 drum sets. They're not all up on stage at the same time. One will rise up, and then they'll go down.
Wow.
So you can all see them. And I spent like $500 on my ticket for 2 days. I was on the floor. My old ass was hurting the next day, but I was so close to him that I could hear him hitting his snare before it was coming out the speaker.
Yep.
Wow.
And I was like, what the fuck is that? It's like, and then I was watching, I was like, you hear it talk, 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 talk. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just so fucking close to him. I'm hearing him do it before it comes out the damn speaker.
The physical sound, you heard it live.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. When you're in a football arena, sound travel's weird.
Oh, yeah. So let's get back to you guys, the star of this show right now.
Yeah, we are getting 4 drum sets too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And you guys are all going to play together, right? No. So Facekicker, the name. Who came up with the name? And is the name because you guys just want to fucking kick people in the face?
Yeah.
Music.
I can answer that one. I kind of came up with it. We had a few, Jeff and I had a few names before, and we were just goofing off. And then when we kind of got serious, it was like, hey, what do we really want to do here? And I talked earlier about this whole like 5 decades of pent up frustration, creativity, just unfulfilled, testosterone musically. And my goal had always been to like blow people away. Like you play so hard, so fast, so strong, so compelling that the audience just feels like they got kicked in the face. And that was kind of the idea. So Facekicker is just a manifestation of like what we're trying to do. And we just bring it. If we play a cover, we face kick it. In other words, we just make it louder, harder, faster, more intense, and we just kick you in the face with it. So that's really straightforward answer.
All right. Now, you've only played a handful of shows, correct?
Yeah, we played about 25 shows so far. So
okay.
Not a ton. And we've all, got families and we've been busy. So it's like, it's definitely a part-time thing, but we'd play 100 shows a year if we could. But I got to get these 2 guys to retire as well. So we played 25 shows so far. So,
I understand that, man. Like I've always been in bands and everybody's had a family, and that's the, I understand that we can't always play, like we were when we were younger, going from playing like 7 shows a month to playing 7 shows a year, but it is, you take what you can get. And as long as we can practice and hang out, that's all that matters at the end of the day, man. Just jamming with the bros. It's like going to the bar, but you're doing it at your house, playing music,
Totally.
Yep. Yeah.
And we love that. We practice weekly, and we absolutely love that time. It's like that 3 hours is gold. And
that's a good practice.
Kick the shit out of our songs every Monday night, and we just have a blast, right, guys?
I haven't. Yeah, they're like, yeah, sure.
We're not blink twice if he's holding you against your will.
Yeah, hey, T-Bone, you can't whip them while they're away from you, okay? So, that's great. 3 hours, but I haven't asked any of these bands that I've talked to. So you guys at practice, I know we would just get in, kind of bullshit while everybody's setting back up because most people took their stuff home, so we had to set back up. But then do you guys start out with riffing, or do you guys just like run through your set, or do you guys just start working on new ideas? How do y'all do your practice?
I think a lot of it is, so, these guys have been playing together much longer than I've been around. So a good chunk of the rehearsals over the past, 10 months or whatever it's been now has been, I've been trying to get up to speed and learn these songs and really get to know them. So, sometimes it's like we'll play, our songs aren't that long, but we'll do them many times. So, if it wasn't for me having to learn all this music, maybe our rehearsals wouldn't be quite as long. But and then to that point, like, I think it's every instrument, but definitely I feel this way on the drums. You got to get the blood moving a little bit. You got to warm up.
Sure.
And that's a good time to maybe get creative and jam on something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what we would have to do here, because like in Tennessee, we got some cold fucking winters, So, yeah, and my basement doesn't really have heat that goes down there or AC, but it's all brick, so it stays cool during the summer. But in the winter, it's a little cold down there,
Oh, yeah,
so especially when we were in my garage, I had to move it from the garage into the other area of my basement, so it was a little warmer. But yeah, you gotta get them fingers, especially when you're unloading gear out and going from in and out. You're like, but yeah, you gotta get them fingers rolling, you know. But
we do,
so
we do jam out. I mean, that's we do that. Actually, we did just a jam and recorded it on the new EP. So I love that. We just in the studio and jammed it out, and then we.
Did you guys do just like did you guys do separate tracks, or did y'all do how'd y'all do that on the recorded new album?
We recorded, obviously the bass was going direct with an amped cabinet. The guitar cabinet's in a separate room, so it's cranked, but it's not bleeding into the drum mics. And we're all in a kind of the large drum room together. So we can vibe off each other while we play, hear each other in the headphones. And to J-Bone's point, there's one song on this upcoming EP that is completely just created on the fly. Everything not planned out, not even really talked about, just kind of played. And maybe it sounds like it. Maybe it'll be some people's favorite song. Maybe it'll be some people's least favorite song. We'll see. I'm curious.
Well, we're talking about songs.
Yeah.
You guys gave me something.
Yeah.
And what is that you gave me so we can let the people listen to? What is this? What we're listening to?
Herpes.
Yeah.
Herpes.
We gave you herpes.
I was wondering why I was burning and itching.
J-Bone.
So this song is called Blazin, and I think it's it's a pretty hard song for us anyway. It is more or less about smoking pot and fucking up your life.
Sounds fun.
That's kind of it, and sleeping all day, and that's it.
So basically,
you're complicated.
You're talking about retirement.
My life's goals.
That would be that is my ideal retirement.
All right. Well, here we go. Let's listen to some Blazin.
Woo! Let's go.
Dig it.
All night, blazing.
Holy shit, man.
There
That
it
was
is.
pretty fucking awesome, dude. That
Short and
song
sweet.
rips. Yeah. I
Thank
mean,
you.
Sweet.
Thank you so
heavy,
much.
heavy. I got some heavy ass riffs in there, man.
Oh yeah, we
Thank
went for a big sound.
Yeah. When you sent it over yesterday, I jammed it a few times and I was like, fuck, okay, all right.
Okay.
Way, because it's way different than the two songs you guys have up online, you know.
Yeah.
Now with this song here, more not face kicker, more like fucking face melter. But because I think we just got our faces melted, you know.
Yeah.
But so this song
Thank
here
you.
now are the rest of the stuff on the new EP or is it an album? Is most of the stuff that's similar style or a little different?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
The one nice thing about it, you know, obviously we came in prepared, but we basically tracked everything in you know, all the music in one day. So there wasn't a lot of time to fool around and experiment on that part. That, you know, anything else that may differentiate took place either in the vocal performance or the mixing or something. But I think what's cool is, you know, you get this nice just slab of hard rock, and we're not gonna kill the spontaneity or the original magic by, you know, putting too many spices on it. Just loud Les Paul through a Marshall amp cranked loud. That's all you need, really.
And we tracked it live. So the three of us, as Johnny was saying earlier, were in the room, and it's like we were vibing off each other and just rocking the shit out of it. And that's how we like practicing and performing and playing, but recording too. So it was wonderful.
There's a
Shout
couple
out
of
to Adam Reed too.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
I was saying shout out to Adam Reed at Reed's Recording, man, because that guy also brought his magic to the table too.
Yeah, he helped corral the energy.
Great guy and talented guy. I was just gonna say there's a couple of surfy tunes on the record, so it's not all exactly like that, you know. Like T-Bone brings the surf sensibility, so there's great songs there with those roots, and love those too. So
Jesse from Last Ditch Effort just said Facekicker for fucking life.
We love Jesse. He's the man.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I've noticed about all you Bay Area bands, you guys are a huge family. You guys all talk highly about each other. I hear great things about you guys. Like, you guys are such nice guys. And then you know, you guys will say, these guys are nice guys. You guys all are just so positive about everybody. You guys are just like I said, one huge family. We lost a family member a few weeks ago.
No.
It sucks. I didn't really get to know him too much. I got to know him for a little bit on the podcast that I did with him, but we're talking about Mark from American Standard. He was like, just from the time that I got to speak with him, he seemed like one of the most genuine dudes, and had, you know, everybody that was in the scene showed so much love for this guy. And I learned so much more about him through people and how hard of a worker he was and what he did for all the other bands and how he, you know, and a huge supporter of everybody. So it sucks, man. Too young, too soon, you know?
Yeah.
It's funny. My first gig with Facekicker was in last December. We played in Santa Cruz with American Standard and Last Ditch Effort. So it was this really killer opportunity right out of the gate with these guys to meet some other really cool, like-minded musicians. And, you know, so you're right. The scene's pretty tight and it's great.
Yeah. We played many shows with American Standard, a lot. And Mark was just one of the sweetest and most genuine guys you'll ever meet. And it's really
you know, I'm glad I was able to get that interview with them at, you know, and I mean, now people can go back if they want now and they can listen to it and hear his voice again, you know? So it's what I was going to say about him. He was talking about, you know, his band, you know, and how they had to take a break for a while, and then he explained, you know, why, and then to find out what he's done over the years with himself and how he's bettered himself, you know. It's great, man. It's great.
Yeah, strong guy.
Yeah. So
it was a huge journey for him, and I think he helped a lot of people. And in the music scene, it was like his refuge. It was like the place where he could relax and just be himself creatively, because he gave so much to the community in terms of healing and getting off drugs. Like, he was such an ambassador there, and he talked about it, and he wrote about it too in his song. So I mean, the topics were really heavy, and some were funny too. So he made light of some things, and it was great. It was like he had a healthy attitude about stuff. But like my dude said, my bandmate said, he was so genuine, and like, he was best just one-on-one. And I caught him talking to Jeff at the Catalyst, that show we did in December, and they were just chatting, and no one was around. We were just setting up our equipment. We were the first band to go on, and Mark was just sharing with Jeff. I don't know what they were talking about, but it was like one-on-one, mano-a-mano. He was just the nicest guy, and he didn't care about attention or anything. It was just rock the shit out of the music. But really, it was the friendships and the camaraderie that we had that really inspired us to keep jamming together and hanging out. And it was just all good. It was all fun and positive. And so.
And one more thought on the kind of the tightness of the scene. We actually played with Last Ditch Effort again this past weekend, and various people had their American Standard T-shirts on, and some nice things, some nice words were spoken. So it was a cool night.
Yeah, I just see you guys have a picture the other night, and a lot of people had their their American Standard shirts on. And it sucks because it doesn't suck. I don't know why I should say that. I don't mean it like that. Anyway, he was going to send me a record and a shirt, and
oh no,
yeah, it's but now I need to figure out a way to get one of the shirts now, because I would love to have one, but
we'll keep an eye out for you.
Hey Russ, also, right before we recorded at Reed's, Johnny was talking about Adam Reed's place.
Okay.
American Standard did their EP just like a week or two before us. So Adam, when we were recording and he found out that Mark had passed, it was like they were just in the studio right ahead of us. And
dude, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, Adam told me after we did more mixing last week that he, because he found out, and then he talked about them having just recorded at Reed's. And guess what? We went to Reed's because of Mark. I asked Mark, he was like one of those guys where you just call or text and he'd be like, hey, how do you promote something? How do you do this? And I was like, where did you guys record? Because I love your sound. And he talked about different places. Then he said, you know what? Reed's and Camel is like the shit. And I took it off of Mark's recommendation. And it was just ironic that all that happened, like your interview, their recording, and then us playing there. Recording there, was just like, it was surreal. So we're still getting over it. I mean, it'll take a long time.
Well, I hope we can hear that record. I hope they
put
it out. Yeah,
we will. I'm in touch with the guys. They're gonna keep writing and keep doing stuff. And they were actually practicing after we did a mix. They were coming in like 2 hours after we were there last Saturday. So I get a sense they're still trying to do stuff. I just don't know how to look, but they'll keep it going for Mark.
Literally like the week after it aired is when I found out, and I found out from a post that the last ditch effort posted up, and I was like, wait, what? And then they explained. I was like, oh fuck. So but like I said, man, a lot of these bands he told me to hit up, I've hit up because of his recommendations. Add a Lemon, which I did last week, and then next week I have I can't remember right now. I'm lost on the names right now, but I have another one coming up next week.
Awesome. And you had Goof last week, and we
Goof's
played on with American Standard, Goof, and Facekicker like about a year ago. So I mean, it's a small community, and
Dead River Rebels. That's who I have coming up.
Oh yeah. These guys are great.
In March. Yeah.
I might as well just move to I might as well just move back to the Bay and just do this in the Bay, because I'm not bullshitting you. I think the last 10 episodes, well, not past 10, but within the last 10 episodes I'll be doing and have done have all been Bay bands.
We're so good at that. Yeah.
And I was just in the Bay back in March.
Awesome.
Oh man.
I got family in Vallejo, and so
Okay, cool, man.
Vallejo, Richmond, all that area, Sac. And see, when I was gonna go to, I can't go now because I don't have my real ID yet.
Oh,
So I can't fly, and I don't have a passport because my passport expired years and years ago. But I don't have my birth certificate, so I have to go get mine from San Francisco. I got to get it from the hospital, whatever, from there. Then I got to get it shipped to me. Then I got to get my ID. Yeah, it's a process. So,
This
but
this real ID shit is real shit. I mean,
it is, yeah,
ridiculous.
Here's the thing. When you went to get your new IDs, they should have automatically gave it to you then.
Yeah.
Not make a deadline, because in the town that I live in, I say town, but it's like it's 200,000 people.
Yeah.
But we have one DMV.
Wow, for 200,000 people. Yeah.
So it's like it was like last time I checked, it was like a 4-month wait. So
brutal.
That was before the deadline. But anyway, much love to Mark's family. We miss you, Mark.
Same.
Word.
Yeah. So this new album, you guys are done recording it. When do you guys expect to drop this album?
I mean, with distro and all the timing of stuff, it's going to be a couple weeks before we put it in the can, because we're kind of in mix master mode right now. And then with distro, and we're thinking about vinyl and CD as well, and streaming, of course, but probably July to be safe. So about 8 weeks from now to get it out. And if it's earlier, great, but we're kind of targeting July right now. And we couldn't be happier with how it's sounding right now.
So, I mean, what we heard just a little bit ago, and if you guys are just now tuning in, I see some people that have tuned in now. You guys missed Blazin by Facekicker, which is actually off the new record, but it's actually an unmastered version of it, correct?
That's right. So it's got its first level mix on it, and it was just our live recording. So bare bones, fun stuff, but mastering will happen next. Yeah. So
it sounds phenomenal, just like that. So, what's the title of the record going to be? Do you have a title in mind yet?
Good question. We're working it out. We got the short list.
But
yeah, we're still working on concept.
It's gonna be a dumb fight.
With us, it's usually not a lack of ideas. It's usually trying to decide on a plethora of ideas.
Yeah.
What's one title that did not make it?
So, we have our top 3, everybody. So we'll just, figure it out at the next
one title that didn't make it.
Yeah,
what was one that didn't make it?
That didn't make. What was one that didn't make the top 3?
I don't know if any have been officially ruled out yet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But
one that never made it was Take a Whiff.
Oh yeah, that's not on the short list right now.
But now, there were no takers on that one. But
are there going to be? Is it going to be like the name of the album? Is it going to be based off a song title?
Possibly.
Okay.
I think in the end, it's going to either be a song title or a little like a line from one of the songs that we like, something like that. But,
well,
and it's not going to be Take a Whiff, so that's probably good news.
Fiona Apple holds the record for the longest title ever. She put a poem for her title.
Oh my God!
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think it was like her first or second album, or maybe it was her second album, and it's just like the first 4 words ... So yeah,
I love it.
Anyway,
I don't think we're gonna do that.
No, okay. Yeah. So coming from this album, okay, cool. So you guys are gonna do a CD release show or a big release show?
Yep, we don't have really shows planned after this. We're kind of hunkered down, little summer vacation stuff, but we will do a release show when we have a definitive date. And God, that fucking show is going to be a banger. I mean,
hell yeah!
And we'll just invite all our favorite bands that we love jamming with, and there's a short list, and they all know who they are, and they might be online right now, but it's a great community. So we know we'll just have a blast and celebrate the music, and we celebrate the same with our other band buddies in the Bay, and it's totally positive. So it's like everybody wins with the positive attitude. But we like to rock it first. That's our first mission, and kind of take names later.
Hell yeah. So so since you have no shows booked up, how was your last show?
It was pretty epic. I mean, we had friends and family there. We had other bands that have been supporting us by just showing up to our shows. We try to do the same, but we have a real loyal following, and it was like a long bar in a bowling alley. It's this whole fun kind of place, but we were on a stage and we had pretty good sound, so it was just good to rock out loud. And we always love playing live.
Screen behind us, which had our logo, and it's very. I mean, it's kind of a cool place to play.
We posted a few pictures of that.
And I even had John and I had a string of bowling too. So
that was rad.
And he kicked my ass all over the fucking bowling alley.
What did you shoot, like a 160, bro?
It was a rare showing for me. I'm not normally that.
And I was like 54.
Are we bowling our ages? Is that what you're doing?
Well, one thought about the show, we do have one thing confirmed at Solar Van, right?
Yeah, Solar Van Saturdays. It's this thing, kind of the shores of Alameda Island, East Bay,
near Berkeley.
Like near Berkeley. It's Rockies Beach, and I think I'll double check, but we're scheduled for June 21st, and that's just a rad outdoor. So the dude, Lee Hoffman, is in Elegant Trash, and he's been organizing this for like the last 10 years. But it's this shitty old van with a solar panel on the top, and all the amplification and everything is powered by this solar panel, this on top of the car. And so it's pure, like, eco, like, green concert. And we just play right out to the bay, and it looks over Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz, Bay Bridge, and the downtown San Francisco. It's a killer, and we play out to the water, and people look in at the band. And J-Bone and I played a couple years ago. We did a set there, and it was just like cold, windy, but we had such a blast, and we met so many great bands there. But we're working on June 21st, so that'll be our next show. It'll be a little ahead of the EP release, but and then we'll start scheduling shows after that, and it's going to be huge, dude. You got to come out for it, Russ.
I will say, I don't think I'll be able to come out then. I'm planning October still. So for Aftershock Fest, my niece and nephew want to go. They're into the same kind of music, and I'm trying to get. They see a lot of local shows and up in Sac. They'll go see a bunch of like local bands, whether they're punk or hardcore bands. A lot of metalcore, a lot of hardcore, whatever. But they love the Deftones, obviously. Most people do. They saw them back in October or whenever the hell they played last. I don't know if it was October, but they want to go see the Deftones again at Aftershock. So
awesome,
nice.
Awesome.
I gotta be the cool uncle. They already think I'm a cool uncle because I like the music they listen to. Because like I'm 50 or I'll be 50, and all their other uncles and aunts that are around my age aren't into this shit, I'm still a fucking kid at heart, So.
Good. Aren't we all?
Yeah, I mean, and I still say I skateboard, but that don't go the same as it used to.
Awesome.
So let's talk about I want to ask you guys, we talked about our first shows that we've seen. What was one of your most let's rewind. What was the best show you've seen? Just go with T-Bone.
Oh, best like concert?
Yeah.
It wasn't actually, I mean, this was like lifetime in the making. It was a really small show, but it was a show that inspired Jeff and I to go live. And it was in August of 2021. Jeff remembers. Okay. It was at Felton Music Hall. It was like probably a 200-person, like a sidebar, back room for merch, a raised stage, but Agent Orange was the headliner. And I always wanted to see Agent Orange play live. I never saw them when I lived in Orange County, but I remember playing the record and playing guitars to it. Their original, they only produced 3 albums back in the late 70s and early 80s. So it was like this 40 years later kind of thing that I wanted to experience. So we also saw the Spice Pistols, which is a bunch of dudes from San Diego who dress in drag. They play Spice Girls covers in the spirit of Sex Pistols, like in that that musical style. So they're wearing like wigs and dresses and crazy, and they went
and
on
the ugliest women you can imagine.
They're really fugly, and they went on America's Got Talent. What's his name? X'd them out like Simon Cowell X'd them out like after 2 seconds. But we Jeff and I went to that show. We made friends with those guys. They were inspiring. We saw a couple local bands. I've been following those bands, and it kind of kicked off the networking part of connecting with these different bands. And even Mike Palm from Agent Orange, and he's done multiple tours with Spice Pistols and other local bands that we like. That got us up on stage. So it was partly just a kick-ass show because we saw him play Bloodstains live, and we cover that song. And the way he sings it is just insane. And then it inspired us to get out and play our own shit live, like on a stage, and really do it. After like 2 years in the can, we just started. So it was a small show, but that for me, that was like the most surreal concert that really hit home. And I've seen Coldplay, I've seen Nugent, I've seen like Elton John, big acts, but nothing really kick ass as much. I love it. So great pick. Yeah. Good one. So anyway, that was for me.
Wait, so you're gonna say that was there? Okay, and you've seen Coldplay? They're on my bucket list. Coldplay.
Coldplay was like a party, like beach balls flying around. It was Levi's Stadium. It was 65,000 people. I was stressed out at work.
Oh, wait a second. Was this a couple years back?
Yeah, it was like 2020.
My friend from Clarksville opened up that show doing hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah. His name was Case Arnold, and he did some hip hop in the beginning of that. But whoever opened up that show, and I was like, "What are you doing in San Jose or not San Jose, in San Francisco area?" But
it was killer.
He showed pictures of him at Coldplay. I was like, "What are you doing there?" He goes, "I'm opening up for Coldplay," and I was like, "What the fuck?"
It wasn't like kick-ass in terms of rock, but I mean, I always appreciated Chris Martin's songwriting and his conveyance of music, and it's like that artistry live, and it was just such a big party. Like it wasn't like it blew my mind in a rock sense, like seeing Ted Nugent, just shred. It was more like a positive experience, and just seeing the crowd just absolutely go nuts for this band. And it was like it just kept feeding the fire of like wanting to play live and deliver goodness to the audience and kind of get that feedback. And we're enjoying that now, with small clubs. And it's just it's so contagious, and it's such an addiction. I love it.
Real quick before I forget, if anybody's listening to this podcast counts how many times Ted Nugent has been said in this episode, by the time it's over, and the first person that hits me up with the correct answer, I'll send you a shirt.
Oh,
we'll shoot a flaming arrow at you.
Yeah.
But that's a loaded question. Like, what's the greatest show you've ever seen?
Hard to answer.
I'm old enough I kept a lot of my old ticket stubs, and I'm always amazed at like the price, man. I saw, Tool at the Berkeley Square, and it was $5 to get in, and Danzig at the Stone, and Pantera as an opening band at the Stone. But since you mentioned Deftones, I can't really ever pick a favorite show I saw, but sometime about 1994 or 5, the band I was playing in the 90s, we opened up for the Deftones at this place in Morgan Hill called the Valley Playhouse, or the South Valley Playhouse.
Holy shit.
And they were fucking cool. Chi was incredibly cool, but they were playing in San Jose, and I knew the name, but seeing them for the first time was like a face melting experience. They were fucking rad. I remember they played a Bad Brains cover that night, and it was before they had an album out, so I didn't really know the songs, and they just blew me away.
Well, here's something real quick. San Jose, did you guys see Smash Mouth before they blew up?
No, they were like a cover band. They used to play at this place
backyard parties.
Yeah, so I feel I don't mean to like sound elitist or anything, but I just, playing original music, I didn't really vibe on cover bands. So
I
when they
got
got big, it's like, oh, those are the cover band guys,
I mean, wasn't their first big single on the soundtrack? Wasn't that a cover, or was that their own
Probably.
song?
I don't know. I don't listen to
But
them.
rest in peace to that guy. I don't know his name.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're nice guys.
Big
Yeah.
Yep.
So Jeff, we're not gonna go there with you. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I have an answer for you.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
It's the same place, Felton Music City Hall. It's Felton Music Hall, and my wife got these tickets, and it was a Bee Gees cover band. Sorry, John. And it was awesome.
Nice.
But actually, I already talked. I know what it is. Have you guys heard of the band The Frogs?
Yeah.
No.
Wesley Willis had a song about them.
Yeah, I saw the Frogs in this tiny bar. The guy came out with these huge green sequin wings, and they were amazing. They were completely offensive, and that is probably my favorite show of all time.
I love it.
And Guitar Wolf opened for them. And those guys came out, and the guy chugged a beer and then smashed the beer on the floor where everyone was standing.
Is it Guitar Wolf, the Japanese guy, the crazy Japanese guy?
Yeah, Guitar Wolf.
Yeah. Oh, he's insane.
So it was Guitar Wolf and the Frogs, the best in a small room, best show I've seen.
Nice.
But T-Bone and I are going to the Melbournes next week. So
With Napalm Death?
Yeah, with Napalm Death.
Yes, that was just here. Tuesday night, I think it was. Yeah, we just here Tuesday night in Nashville. I got to see Mr. Bungle last year. That was really cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't
With
know
Lombardo
who the guy
and Scott Ian in the band.
Fuck yeah, that was so rad. I was like, I was more nerded out because it's fucking Scott Ian, and then not that the fucking God himself was up on fucking stage, Mike Patton, but I'm like, oh wait, that's Dave Lombardo back there too, because he sits so low when he plays, I couldn't see him.
Yeah.
But,
Patton uses them on a lot of his projects. I mean, the guy's
he does.
Drum god.
They're really good friends, That's really cool.
So Russ, what's your favorite concert?
I mean,
your favorite show?
I only have one answer. Actually, I have two answers, and they're the same answer. This artist, I can't think of his name right now. Prince.
Oh wow,
that guy.
I got to see Prince. I got to see Prince twice.
Nice.
But as far as like a in a smaller venue, I would have to say Soundgarden.
Fuck yeah.
And Santa Cruz at the Civic Center.
Oh yeah, I remember when that was Bad Motorfinger era.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was probably 16 years old.
Wow.
And,
I saw him at the Warfield like the night before that. I remember that show.
Were you at the Sonic Youth show by chance at the Warfield?
I did not see Sonic Youth at the Warfield. No.
Yeah, I saw it was Screaming Trees, Sonic Youth, and Tad at the Warfield. Yeah, it was a great show.
Oh man,
it was my last show. It was my last show in California before I moved on out to Tennessee.
It's a good one to go out on.
Oh, yeah. And Kirk Hammett was at this show. My buddy passed out from a seizure. We pull him over to this like wall area on the left side. Kirk Hammett comes over with a glass of water, and we give it to my buddy. Yeah. And my buddy comes up and goes, "Who the fuck is that?" And we go, "That's Kirk Hammett." He's like, "Fuck Kirk Hammett." And I was like, whatever, dude. But it was right in the middle.
People.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, he has some powers. I was like, now I want to meet Kirk Hammett and just tell him that story. Be like, my friend was like, "Fuck Kirk Hammett." He'd probably be like, "Yeah, I'd probably say the same thing." He's his. But
great story.
No, yeah, I had a story like with Danzig and me. I saw Danzig on How the Gods Kill tour in Santa Cruz too.
Oh, okay, yep.
It was Danzig.
Was he touring with like Trouble? Oh yeah.
It was White Zombie.
Did play on that?
White Zombie.
No, it was Trouble. It was Danzig, White Zombie, and Trouble opened up.
Yeah.
But so I'm backstage, waiting to meet Danzig, and they bring in this cooler of Heineken. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm 16, I want to get a beer. So I pull one out and I'm about to open it, and I get this hand on my shoulder.
Oh,
And I turn around and we're looking eye to eye because it's Glenn Danzig's not that tall, and he's like, "How old are you?" And I was like,
you
16.
got carded by Danzig, dude.
And he takes the beer from me, and I'm like, "What the fuck,
Ah, dude.
Wow.
What a
But
buzz
anyway,
kill.
yeah. Well, we see what you. Nah, I had nothing but respect for Danzig. That was a
What
great
an
tour.
encounter. I love it.
Well, gentlemen, I think before we get done, like not right this second, but on the way out, we should have to play that song one more time.
Okay.
Man? Did you hear that, Jesse? We're gonna have to play it one more time.
He heard it on Saturday, so he gets to hear it again.
Yeah,
third
yeah,
time.
yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not playing it now. No.
Sorry, not sorry.
We could. I mean, I could talk to you. He said, "Play it again." I could talk to you, gentlemen, for 7 more hours. We could just talk and talk and talk. It's good stuff, But
It's super fun.
whoever wants to spit it out, where can everybody find you on the interweb?
The interweb. Well, we're called Facekicker, so we're on Instagram and Facebook. We're on face-kicker.com because some idiot already got facekicker.com. So we have that site, and we're on Threads. We're on Bandcamp.
We're also on Tinder.
The whole band. It's like,
we come as a trio.
Yeah, when you date us, it's all three.
I'm swiping. I'm swiping right on that one. You know what I'm saying?
Just search Facebook. Oh, we're on we have a YouTube channel. So if you guys like it, we're going to put more videos on there. And when we release the album, we're going to start doing videos. So we're going to have a lot more content coming up. And Johnny's a graphic artist. So this guy over here. And
lean over, T-Bone, so we can see Cerebus.
Oh, yeah. This is what Johnny came up with. It's like the 3-headed dog with Facekicker's logo. And,
3-headed hellhound. I love it.
Oh, it's killer.
Might be the name of the EP. 3-headed.
You mean this right here?
Oh yeah, that's it. Unobscured.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Now that has to be a shirt.
Oh,
we hope so. Yeah.
No doubt.
I mean, you can make that into a shirt. You can make it into a back patch. You can make it into all kinds of things.
Let's vote on it right now. Yes.
So
we will slap our name on anything and sell it.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and do this one more time, and then we'll come back, and then we'll sign off. Okay, let's get some face melting again.
Space belter.
No, your face.
that was a banger. And Frankie Fiesta just says, "Man, I feel like I just got kicked in the face."
Thank you, Frankie.
Love it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Frankie.
You're the man.
He's a punk rocker too, man. Actually, he's a little bit of everything, but he's a Dead Kennedys fan. I'll shout out the Dead Kennedys for him. You know.
Yep.
Love Jello.
I like Jello too. Strawberry's my favorite, you know, but
Not the kind that Bill Cosby gives you.
no, that's pudding.
Jello pudding. Yeah.
And, hey, is he still eating pudding? Pops?
I think they serve that in prison, don't they?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and I'm sure P. Diddy is probably having some. So.
Yeah.
Oh
God.
Well, guys,
That's how I knew how to party.
hell, well, why can't I go to that party? I wasn't invited.
no.
I'll
Anything you guys want to? Anything you want to give a shout out to? Anything you want to mention before we dip out?
We want to thank you for taking the time. We really enjoyed.
Thank you, Russ.
It was fun.
And I appreciate you guys. I had fun.
Talking story, playing our song twice. I mean, this is our first sharing of the song, like the recorded version. So we're totally stoked on it. A little early sneak peek, but we're really glad, to connect with you. And we look forward to future shows as we do more stuff. We're probably going to do another EP next year. We got a lot of material. We're only like sneaking out like 7-8 songs, but we've got a lot in the can. So there's a lot more with Facekicker, and we're just so excited about what we're doing. And can't wait to do more shows and get out to the people and have everybody enjoy the music. And it's just like sonic bombast, keep kicking faces. That's our goal. So
hell yeah. Well, I think you kicked some faces tonight, and I enjoyed it. And I hope to see and hear more from you guys here soon. Maybe even some videos. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
No pressure.
Maybe
so we'll get it.
No, you might be able to go to Egypt and shoot one. You never know.
Yeah.
Remember Slayer's Season the Abyss video was like in front of the pyramids. That was a killer video.
That was a killer record too.
Yeah, sure was.
Johnny's already there, so
yeah.
I mean,
Jeff and I'll fly over.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one over there. He's the one that's been building the pyramids,
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. I appreciate you guys. You guys are rock. You guys are cool.
Thank you.
I
for
enjoyed
everything.
myself, and we'll do it again anytime.
Good. Same. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Later, guys.